All right, hello everyone, and welcome to iGlobal University. My name is Mark Robinson. I'm the director for the School of Business at iGlobal, and today I have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing to you a friend and a colleague, Paul Bailo, who has recently assumed the position of president at an e-commerce company called OrangeShine.com. Paul, welcome to our Executive Insights podcast. Great to have you on the inaugural edition of this.
It's great to be here, Mark. Yeah, good to see you, and it's always happy.
Good. Well, I appreciate that. And in preparation for this, I was looking over your LinkedIn profile, and as I was reading it, I thought, wow, this is like a who's who of American corporations, right?
Yeah, I sort of a portfolio of blue chip companies, entrepreneurial companies, and mid-sized companies.
Okay. And we don't want to name drop too many names, but you've worked at Infosys, GE Money, Amex, MasterCard, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, Citigroup. So you've definitely got the experience, corporate America.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, it's a various background, so I love, love the big companies, right? The blue chip branding, the educational experience that I got there from an executive leadership perspective, and then also the small mid-sized companies and then my own companies too. So I love that mix of organizations.
Yeah, I think it really speaks volumes about, your capabilities and the whole realm of digital transformation, right, that's going on today. So first of all, tell us a little bit about OrangeShine.com and sort of what maybe the basis was for it being formed.
Yeah, so it's a wholesale trading company. So think of it as Amazon for fast fashion, where you bring buyers and vendors together and they trade. So it's really an e-commerce trading platform. It's been around, I think, about 12 years, but we're currently into a lot of competition because at one point in e-commerce, trading platforms were highly sought after, right? So you're trying to get these marketplaces of people coming together and give them an area to trade. But now even Amazon is in the wholesale marketplace to do trading. So we're now working on our competitive advantage, but the history is really just in the LA area in California. There's a whole group of these brands and brand names. And this is sort of the e-commerce platform that allows buyers and vendors to come together in the fashion world.
Cool. That sounds like a very, very interesting opportunity. About how big is the company in terms of,
Yeah, it's we're over 100 million in sales. It's a very small company. However, right now I've been brought in to really, I would like to say, sort of move it to the next level, right? Because with the amount of competition and every day there's more and more platforms, marketplaces coming to fruition here. So I was called in by the board to come in and really transform this organization from the top down and the bottom up. I mean, from A to Z here. I just finished drawing up their multi-year, five-year, multi-year strategic plan of where we need to take the organization. But once again, it's a really risky type of role because one of the hardest thing in the world is to change. It's almost like people, in January, people say, okay, I'm going to get a gym membership, but by February, no one shows up. So people talk a lot about change, but it's really hard for people really to commit to change and make it happen. Usually there has to be a lot of pain in the organization when people call me in to fix this stuff. So I'm really an expert at transformation in the digital world and also the psychological component of the board members and the C-level execs and the organization. Because if you don't have the heart, minds, and souls of the employees, none of this is going to work. Even though people say they want to change, you have to there has to be enough pain in the system to want them to do this. Because no normal organization wakes up and the CEO says, hey, I want to change, right? They're either forced to do it, or I'm usually called in when, the patient's like in the emergency room and the company's flatlining and they call me in to fix this whole thing. But that's really my expertise to really understand strategically and have this innate ability to see what an organization is, what an organization can be, what an organization should be, and how this all should be formulated.
Yeah, no, that you're right. Change is hard, and our personal lives and our work lives are sort of very habitual, and it's hard to break those habits to do something new. And I think you made a great point. It's up to sort of the leader to kind of create that vision of why should we change and what's going to happen once we do change.
Absolutely. And you bring in digital, you bring in technology, you bring in different culture shifts. So the first thing I try to do is really, in my experience, both in the academic world and educational world, and in my executive professional experience, is to understand and assess the culture of the organization to make sure that what I'm recommending will fit the culture. Everyone says they want to drive a Ferrari, but driving a Ferrari is really very uncomfortable and very difficult. So even though they say they may want the Ferrari, sometimes you really just have to get the really reliable, very comfortable Honda Accord.
Right.
Right. So you sort of try to get reality, a sense of reality for the organizations in terms of change. But, I find that the best organizations who really change are the ones who have a lot of pain and who are trying to really survive because they really don't have any choice. They're really smart companies. The really smart companies understand that what got them here won't get them there. And you really want to look at organizations like you could pick the top brands like Amazon or Google or Microsoft, right? In the sense that they want to be a learning organization where they realize that in order to survive, they actually have to constantly innovate and create. But we also have to realize that innovation really is the commercialization of creativity. And creativity is an individual humanistic component. So in order for an organization to be creative, you have to hire creative people.
Right.
And once they create this new idea or new concept, then it becomes sort of in the realm of innovation, which is the commercialization of that idea. So where I usually come in, and I try to wire my brain this way. So you were kind enough to list some of the profiles of the organizations I've worked in, the executive level positions I've held. But it's really to get me exposed to things out there to help me to rewire my brain to think differently, to allow me to assess an organization and then put the plan in place. That's what I do for a living, but not even for a living. It's who I am really.